Today to see Roy Jansz bouncing back from injury and getting that podium spot yesterday. Took 3 podiums in Qatar and Oman, and yeah, 4th podium of the season. And good news for him. Nice to see him back and racing well. It's back to 2 minutes, Magnus. I think that suits everybody. It does not look overly focused today, although they're going reasonably quickly.
Well, the pace is still very much on, and 34 kilometers to go. It's 2 minutes. It's a healthy time gap for both the breakaway and the peloton. I think by the time we're getting onto the circuits with the climbs that we got on offer in there, it's going to be, well, number one, hard for the breakaway to stay out there, but it's also going to be interesting to see what happens in the bunch, because yeah, there's some good opportunities to launch further attacks. I think Direct Energy are quite keen on making sure that they don't bring back this break too early and open themselves up to further attacks, because for them it suits them very, very well to drag this along and effectively get it together for another bunch sprint, which should, in theory, put Bryan Coquard at least on the podium, and then gain further bonus seconds.
Didn't see much of Laurent Pichon the last couple of days. He's the chosen sprinter for Francis Dejeau. In fact, they went elsewhere with Offredo, etc. But I imagine they'll be going well on the climb at Montcasal tomorrow. 2 very flat stages we started off, but it's the terrain getting slightly hillier on this 3rd day. It really does meander a little bit. Should still, however, be a day for the sprinters, I reckon, the way it's panning out right now. I thought a breakaway might have a chance of making it, but to be honest, it's not looking that way right now. Breakaway is still doing a good job, and they've got some pretty handy riders in it. Yeah,
there's some handy riders there, but I don't think there's enough time gaps on the general classification yet to effectively let a break go out there and stay away and pick up the bonus seconds, and also the allowing for a slight time gap. And I think even for Direct Energy, if Coquard is going to win this overall, they need for him to win another stage effectively and pick up the bonus seconds and put himself pretty much a good 30 seconds ahead of all of the major climbers and the strongmen. Should we call them GC riders? Because Bryan Coquard, although not exactly looking built like a sprinter, he is a sprinter, and it doesn't climb overly well, although better than a lot of sprinters that I've seen.
Just looking at our breakaway, we can get back to them for a little while. We haven't really seen too much of them. We've been sort of, the camera's been dwelling. Here we are. Elio Kaiser, nearest to us, powerful man. Won the last stage of last year's Giro, you might remember. It's been runner-up on a stage of the Giro in the past as well. Not taking the Giro this year. I imagine he's part of the assault that Etixx Quickstop will make on the Tour de France. He's 1 minute and 37 down, so he's not a danger man. Wanty Group Gobert in the blue there, 2nd place at the moment in this line of 4, is Tom de Vriend, who's on startling form. On the 1st of May this year, he went to the Eckborn Frankfurt. Alexander Kristoff won the day, but he finished in 6th place. He's 1 minute and 18 down, so again, I guess you might say the men in blue, as far as this quartet are concerned, are in a pretty handy position. They might be allowed off the leash. Unfortunately, the 25-year-old Brian van Gotem from Rompot Oranje Peloton in the green as Armindo Fonseca comes through. Both Van Gotem, there he is, and Fonseca are both 20 seconds down. They're the danger men, and of the 2 of them, it's Fortuna Vital Concepts Armindo Fonseca who is the out-and-out danger as far as the pack are concerned. When he went, I was wondering whether the trio had actually said, look, can you just go, because you're basically going to make this break fail, and we've got a chance of being allowed to go because of our deficits. He's only 20 seconds down, and was 5th in the GC here, so finished 5th for the entire race only 3 years ago, 2013. So still at 27, Fonseca, dangerous guy to have up the road. I think he's the main worry for the GC men, the general classification boys, and particularly Bryan Coquard.
I think you're right. It's well, anyone who's 20 seconds down on the leader is going to be a threat, and certainly if you let them get a couple of minutes advantage and effectively win the stage with that, then all of a sudden you got yourself a massive uphill battle tomorrow.
Big problem. What was the problem with Topsport Vlaanderen yesterday? They just completely lost it. They were supposed to be guiding in Bert van Lerberger, and he was fourth on the opening day. Yesterday it just didn't work out for them. I guess it's as simple as that, eh?
No, it looked like Van Lerberger had some form of a mechanical within the last sort of 10-12 kilometers, and lost out quite a lot there. And if you got a mechanical within the last 20 kilometers in at this level, then you're gonna, it's possible to make it back into the bunch again, but very rarely have you got the legs to do anything if you get yourself back in there.
Apologies for that. So much going on at the moment. We're also covering the Tour of Azerbaijan. Got an eye on the Giro d'Italia, of course, and our thoughts at the moment, Magnus, with riders who are involved in a nasty crash today. We're just waiting for more detail, really.
Yeah, there's been quite a bad crash, or a very bad crash in Flèche du Sud, where they've had to evacuate about 14 riders with ambulances and air ambulances and so on, but we don't have all of the details, so I don't wish to speculate anything as to how bad it actually is, but certainly 14 riders going to hospital is not a good thing. No,
bad enough certainly for the race to be halted, so it is dramatic indeed, so we wish everybody the very best. Just under 30 kilometres to go from home, and 1:41, and a good job of holding our break at arm's length, let's put it that way. But you feel that the peloton could lay a killer blow on this breakaway any time that they probably liked. There with the green accented shoes is the danger man. That's Armindo Fonseca, who finished 5th here just 3 years ago, and possibly the reason why this break hasn't been allowed to get much more than 2 minutes up the road at any point. Here's one of these magnificent interchanges which link up with the highways that now dot the landscape here. Never used to be there when I lived in this part of the world. Very much minor roads, and the journey to Paris used to take a good 3.5–4 hours. These days you can do it in 2 because of the high-speed links. Infrastructure in France, they really do go together, and yeah, it's something to behold. Close by to here, by the way, is the Abbey de Valois, and if you're ever in this part of the world, do try and stay there. They opened it up. It's still, I believe, a nunnery, but it's absolutely spectacular. It's basically a chateau, and they look after mentally traumatized children, so it's a fabulous charity as well. So when you stay there, don't worry, you don't have to meet the children, so to speak. Bless them, but you have some spectacular rooms in the old chateau for not very much money. So check out the Abbey de Valois. If you're passing through and you're going on holiday in France, stop off and go to it. And it's a very, very good cause that they're looking after these traumatized kids from not just France, but from the wider sort of French colonies, etc. And it's a great charity, and I'm very fond of it, and I've stayed there many times. Spectacular rooms, by the way, and impeccably beautiful gardens, and a real sense of peace, which quite frankly is what those poor children clearly are in need of. 28 Ks remaining, 1:28. Sorry to go on about it, Magnus, but I know so much about this part of the world. It's almost an abundance of riches, or not.
I might start calling you Wikipedia.
Yes, or indeed Padikalepedia.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yes, I do know the area.
Did you write
rather.
that whole?
What?
Well, that particular page.
What about the Valois?
Yeah.
The Abbey de Valois, no. But it needs to be written. It's gorgeous place. I might just pull it up and show you a picture of it in a second on one of our computers here. A little bit of onboard. We've seen quite a bit of this, and I do like a forward-facing camera.
Well, I certainly do as well. I love the onboard cameras. Although I would have liked to seen final kilometre or so yesterday from an onboard camera like this certainly provides some spectacular images, and I'm waiting to see the first proper descent that we'll get on from one of these.
Andrew Pedersen says, yeah, the chicken sheds, it's basically ammonia. I kind of knew that. Didn't really want to say. Here we go. Let's go tech-tastic. We're having a look at some of the onboards and just the lightweight cameras, little pen cams that are used. They don't weigh terribly much, and there you go. We're getting all the secrets right now, Maggie.
Yeah. Well,
there's your housing. That's your relay, essentially. So you have to carry that. It looks possibly not as light and as sylph-like as you might have thought, but there's the aerial, essentially, which sends back the pickies, and there's the camera itself. Do you know when they first
hopefully don't have to carry the monitor?
Yeah. When they first started onboard cameras, the very first ones were run in a motorsport race in Bathurst, up on Mount. Do you know, I can't remember the name of the mount, but anyway, in the Bathurst 1000. And the cameras were so massive that they had to take the back seats of, well, where the back seats would have been, and they put them on a ratchet. So, and they had one button, and when they pressed it, it swung around, and so if the guy was being overtaken, they could make the camera swing and kind of pan as someone went by. It weighed as big as having 2 passengers, and nobody wanted to carry it, and they had to pay a lot of money for any driver to actually have it, because they were going to get passed a lot with the extra weight. How different right now, and that was only what, 15-20 years ago. Technology has absolutely vaulted, and it's to our benefit, isn't it? We get so many good pictures.
Yeah, we certainly do, but I'm wondering how long it will take before we have some form of onboard cameras where you don't have to carry effectively the bottle with the antenna and transmission sort of equipment in it, because obviously that's not ideal for any rider to carry around. Not necessarily the weight penalty on it, but it can be a bit of a pain to have that one bottle which hasn't got any drinks in it.
Yes, because even on a day like this, it's a double bottle day, isn't it?
Well, every day is a double bottle day. You want to make sure that at least you're starting with 2 bottles, because it takes you about 50 kilometers before they effectively open up the bar and you can go back and get more drinks from your team car. And I know certain stages if it's really, really hot, you start with 2 bottles on your bike and one in your back pocket.
There we are. Not hot enough to start jettisoning them over the heads as well today. You'd still get a bit of a chill at this time of year if you did that. Beautiful though, hey, look. There we are. Minute and 10, and it's strung out. And yet again on the approaches, Magnus, we're coming onto the circuit fairly soon. In fact, we'll be there in about 1,200 meters time. So we enter the circuit. In fact, that's our intermediate sprint. I beg your pardon, I misguided you. And then we'll be into we go the first passage over the line. I've double misguided you. We're already on the circuit. It's just that we haven't crossed the finish line yet.
Crossed the finish line, no.
So forgive me for that. And the sprint is not at the finish line. So I've been doubly confused, but I think we finally got there. We've also discovered or rediscovered our king of the mountains, so far at least anyway. And it is Mr. Poulier of the Land Army. He of the camouflaged jersey and shorts. Terrific. I've just got a bit of a picture jam. We're going to have to take ourselves a break in a short while, but we are going to wait for this intermediate sprint, which is rapidly approaching. We are on our finish circuit today, and it's interesting. Our onboard cam finding itself quite high up. It's Fabien Grelier of Direct Energy. I mean, it looks like, well, I don't know where he is actually, Mr. Grelier.
He's on the front there.
There we are. So Grelier moves to the front. There he is, rocking and rolling. He's probably thirsty.
Potentially, yeah.
Here we are, our intermediate sprint. Who's up for it? Well, who else? Ilio Kaiser decides to nick back a few seconds.
Well, that was good fun.
Actually, I beg your pardon, it wasn't it, was it? Was it Wanty, our Wanty man?
De Vriend.
So, there we are. Yes, indeed. Sorry about that. It's Tom De Vriend.
And 2 seconds taken by Van Gotem, who obviously takes a couple of seconds off his 20-second deficit on the general classification. The key is going to be whether if these guys are going to get caught, and by all accounts, I think they will be. It's 54 seconds now. Is he going to be able to stay with the peloton, or are they likely to shell him later on?
Well, they're having a little chat, as you can hear. 54 seconds. It's going to be a sprint, Max. As simple as. And yet again, everyone wants to have a look at the finish line. Apologies for just having a bit of confusion about Bert van Lerberger yesterday. He was wearing the Young Riders jersey on behalf of Coquard. Well, does so today, I should say. In fact, yesterday, it was number 100. Yeah, it was him yesterday. He's not wearing it today. He was wearing the white jersey, and backwards he went with the technical very late on. And his team had done a lot of driving, so I expect them to try again today, and I think he's a good pick.
Yeah, no doubt. Will they give him another opportunity and try and set him up for a sprint? Because on the opening stage he was very, very good, and the team did a great job, and as they did yesterday, to be fair to Top Sport Vlaanderen. And I think they will try their best to set something up for the sprint. And as we're coming in to have a look at the final kilometre, then.
Watch this then. You come down into town. It's a little scoot over what is actually a modest railway bridge. Signs for Amiens, heading off the other way. Into town, past the roads that lead to the market square. And indeed, as you can see, quite a busy little place we've got here at Saint-Pulse, or Ternoise. Ternoise being one of the rivers here. Little lake here as well. And it's a strange one, this. As you come up, the road widens, becomes a boulevard, and you go past a little square, I believe. A little bit higher up. Yes, it really is. And so it's on a rise as we stand right now. This is going to be a proper sapper at the end. Coquard will be equal to it, but will it be have the beating of the likes of Van Lerberger? Bouhanni likewise. Here it is. It kind of opens up at this point, as you can see, so it gets a bit more light with 400 meters to go.
Grippy sprint, this one. Certainly going uphill by.
It's proper, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks to me like a good 5, maybe even 6% going up here. So this is going to be interesting for all the riders, and potentially a different winner on a stage like this.
Do you see someone like Chavanel having a go on a day like this?
Well, I think they will still try their best for Coquard, but because he's so small and so light, he should actually have the legs to be able to battle for the stage win still. But the setup is going to be absolutely key here, not to put Coquard in too much difficulty before effectively get up to this point where it levels out and he can open up his sprint. So the lead out is very, very tricky today to gauge it and do it just perfect.
2 laps to go, 41 seconds the gap, and the close down is happening. So they'll have a look at this. I'm not sure they'll like it. I'm thinking Sam Dumoulin today. You know, he's got that sort of lightweight energy that can drive into an incline such as this. And he's been very quiet the first couple of days. Sam Dam is only 20 seconds down. And AG2 on Le Mondial coming to the fore here. You can see their brown, blue and white centre of the road. So they're having a good old look for the little guy. It'll be a fascinating one. They cross the line then in a few moments' time. And we've got another push from Fortuneo Vital Concept after their man Fonseca just dropped out of that trio on the sprint. They still have ideas of forming a breakaway, as you can see. Good attacks rolling straight away.
Yeah, definitely. This is what we were kind of afraid of what's going to happen. Now you've got 2 riders. There's an AG2R rider going out the peloton as well, and trying to bridge across to the breakaway riders with 34 seconds to go. If you've got a couple of more riders to do this now, then it could become quite a dangerous new compilation of riders.
We'll keep an eye on this. We'll take that break so that we don't interfere too much with the end of the day. Straight through a last drinks zone here. Welcome back. Two riders from the main bunch decided to go. They've just reassembled themselves. They're kind of accepting that they're going to let them go, and that's a danger, especially as someone like Elio Kaiser, who's already in the existing four-man breakaway, could pick it up. Sorry, down to 3 after Armindo Fonseca went backwards from Fortuneo Vital Concept. It's actually Jan Goyot, by the way, from the Land Army that's trying to bridge over, along with Alexis Gougiard from AG Tour Le Mondial. We'll discuss the whys and wherefores of the reasons for them to go for it, but Gougiard is a good plant to have up there. It'll give Sam Dumoulin an excuse not to push on from the pack and not do any of the chasing down. We'll see whether that's the plan, shall we? Almost complete. Very good effort of bridging by Alexis Gougiard from AG Tour Le Mondial, 23 years of age. He's twice taken the Classic Loire Atlantique, and so he kind of knows how to wrestle a bike. Just bridging over to the 3 remaining breakaway riders, who are now about to become 5. Armindo Fonseca was originally part of this group, not here, and they're going to power straight back. And Jan Goyot is there, and I thought that Elio Kaiser was probably going to be the most likely to stay with them, and he's marking them straight away. We'll see whether how much damage these guys manage to do. But the Land Army are on a march here.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're going hard and have done a great job to bridge across to these 3 riders that were out front before.
Sorry, Max.
The peloton has obviously responded to that and not too far behind them. So going to be interesting to see whether they got any legs to actually build on this.
Jan Goyot, 30 years of age, and he's been cycling for quite some time. He's led the Ronde d'Isard in the past. The Breton Cyclist Trophy belonged to him as well. It's been 2 years in the second year with the Land Army, and that was a gutsy bridge, as you saw. Alexis Gougiard of AG Tour Le Mondial, a good man to have up in the break if you happen to have some ambitions on the day, which Samuel Dumoulin, I believe, will have because of that incline we've just seen, more focused than perhaps we thought it would be. So AG Tour Le Mondial, because they've got a man in the break, have got a right not to fight at the moment to bring these guys back. Everyone's going to be leaning on Direct Energy again this time, and one suspects that Cofidis will want to deliver Bouhanni to that uphill run. Is it too tough for Bouhanni?
Well, I don't know if it does look like a really grippy sprint. So whether Bouhanni's got the legs to do that, if he says himself that he's not feeling 100%, I think it will probably be a little bit too tough for Bouhanni. And it's going to be interesting to see who's actually got the legs for this sprint, because it is a very difficult one indeed.
I think Bert van Lerberke might be just a bit big for it, but we'll see. He might do a kind of a Degenkolb job on it. You know, a big guy who can power up when he needs to. I've seen Degenkolb in his pomp before his own accident. We've been talking about accidents today. Go up some startling inclines. I remember particularly the Hatter Dam in the Tour of Dubai. He shot up it. Quite remarkable. I think that was about 20% or even more, that dam wall that he went up. So short and sharp. This one's much longer, much more of a drag, but I've seen him, big riders as well, go very, very well on inclines such as that. If they are sprinters, you can sustain it, Max. It's not out of the question. It's
not out of the question, no, but it's a question of timing and a question of how you get into the final 150 meters on this particular sprint. If you can go up that drag, that is, well, it's more than a drag, it's actually a climb, at sort of 90%, 95%, and then open up your sprint from there, then you're going to be in a very good position to do well. And obviously, if you can even wait until you get to the top to unleash that massive big acceleration, then you could effectively overtake an awful lot of riders in the final 150 meters, if you can get through the gaps, if you can find the gaps, and also obviously if you've got the legs still.
There we are. Yes, the other one I was thinking about was Matara, where we had a flash storm on the Giro, nearly washed the commentary position away. The Brits stayed in position, everyone else legged it. It was our own Titanic, potentially. Yes, 14.9 kilometres to go, Magnus. It's we're on it.
Yeah, we're definitely on it. 20 seconds for the bunch, and the bunch are now starting to work quite hard. You can see how the pace is picked up by the number of riders stringing out at the tail end of the peloton, and yeah, 14.5 kilometers to go, as we've seen in the last couple of stages. This is roundabout where a lot of the teams are starting to get interested in keeping position, and almost starting their lead outs already.
They are. Look how strong out it is. We've only got 4 Ks before we cross the finish line, so this is a good practice on the approach. It's a nice piece of highway. There's the railway line that we're going to go up and over. That almost lulls you into a false sense of security as you go over that railway bridge, brings you down to the foot of the climb. About 650 meters of climbing that you've got to do, maybe 500 with a slightly flatter section just at the very last. But Cofidis are up for this, and Bouhanni clearly feels motivated. He's wearing the green jersey and he's leading them in for the time being. I don't know whether he wants to look at it or whether it's for somebody else today within that team.
I think he's just put himself in a position where he chooses where he sits, and waiting for his team then to at a much later stage get into
battle formation.
Well, battle formation, exactly. Like you said, it's just getting his whole team up there and starting to lead him out. But I think it's even more important today to time this right, and not leave your sprinter to battle for himself too early.
There we are, and as you saw as well, just very much dominating proceedings, Direct Energy. Here we are then, 3.5 Ks to go, just about that, until we get to our finish line. We'll be going over that railway bridge and then that run uphill to the line. The wind's picked up ever so slightly as well. Flags are getting a bit more lively. Level crossing for them to deal with, and you can see it just starts to pitch up ahead. It's not a flat land, this, is it, we're dealing with today?
No, far from it. This region is actually very, very hilly. It doesn't seem an awful lot, but there's never really any proper flat roads. It's always up and down.
It's great swooping curves as well. It's a beautiful place to ride if you happen to be going downhill. Believe me, I have that experience. So Direct Energy on the left-hand side of your picture, right-hand side of the road, up through the middle at the moment, the Land Army and indeed our friends from Italy. Giacatoli are there. They looked busy over the last couple of days. Francesco Chicchi, one of your pals, involved.
Yeah, Francesco Chicchi was up there, but I think today's finish is going to be too much for Chicchi, so maybe they will go for Gavazzi instead.
Well, they've got Bandiera just leading in Frapporti at the moment, number 36, bottom of your screen. The Land Army are extremely busy. This is for Stéphane Poulier, and I'm just looking to see whether he reveals him. Look, Julien Duval has also gone very quickly for them. Wearing the polka dot jersey is Poulier, and I just spotted him. So yes, it's for him. So you might see, bizarrely, the polka dot. Well, I suppose it's an uphill sprint. Why not?
Well, why not? Exactly. I think it's going to be a fascinating final lap of this to see who the different teams are actually setting up for the sprint. It's not necessarily all the time that the best climber is in the polka dot jersey either.
Absolutely.
It just means that he's the man who's been in the breakaway and managed to pick up the points.
Here are our breakaway now, reassembled, Magnus, with 5 riders in it. They take the Flamme Rouge and take these turns. Talk us through it. Nice big sweep, and then all of a sudden we come to the foot of what is a punishing test. It
is quite a punishing test, yeah. 2 right-hand turns effectively bringing you into the final 600-700 meters, and that's when he starts rising up, and it rises up to about 200 meters from the line. So quite a steep climb as well, I got to say. Gear selection is going to be absolutely critical for this one as well. Just maybe go as small a gear as you can pedal, and keeping your position going up the first part of it, and then click down a couple of gears and open up your acceleration to the line.
There we are. So just wind in your drive, essentially.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Here we go, 400 meters to go. Where's this going to start stinging? To my mind, it's about 200 meters from home. So we've been past the 4. Here is the 3. 275 and the rest of it counted in, and it's starting to burn right now. They're all going to be out of the saddle, aren't they, on this approach?
Yeah, and that's another factor to play in as well, because if you add the saddle all the way up here, then by the time you come to accelerate, you're not actually going to have an awful lot to accelerate with. So I think the key is going to be if you can actually sit down and follow the rider in front of you, follow your lead up man, then by the time you're getting up here onto the slightly flatter section across to the finish line, then you may actually have the kick from round about as far down that corner as we could see. That's where you want to really go for it. And I think the key for the breakaway for the lead-up men is to just go hard, but not be sprinting up here as well. One of the Stolting riders getting out there to stretch his legs a bit. Another move out of the peloton.
They've got Linus Gerdemann, by the way, and Lasse Norman Hansen. Lasse Norman won't be afraid of an incline such as this.
No, he should be capable of doing it. I mean, it's not a mega long climb, so it's still very much within the possibility of going flat out. But it means that it needs to be a particular type of rider to be able to go all the way from that bottom corner all the way up to the line.
So there we are, the Stolting boys having Quader get himself up there. It's Rasmus Christian Quader, and he's another Dane actually from the Stolting service group. Yeah, Linus Gerdemann, 33 years of age now, and he was good in the Castile y Leon, so he's on decent form. Thinking about the overall, one suspects. Sounds like we've got some effects mics failure going on at the moment, so I hope we're going to find a different route for that sound. 23 seconds then only, and still they ply their trade. Direct Energy have invested so much into the last few days, Magnus, and yet they've been equal to the task every day.
Yeah, they've done a great job to hold this together and to control the bunch, and they're still doing that particular job. Although we still have this breakaway out front by 21 seconds, and it's going to take quite a bit of doing to bring them back, because they're really going hard. Although a few riders missing turns here now, so maybe they're starting to think of the actual finish, and that's the last thing you want to do now is start messing around and thinking about trying to set yourself up for a stage win.
Hard team, hard group to catch, especially when you've got the likes of Ilio Kaiser involved. Who's that's gone off the front?
Well, looks there's another rider that's gone out the front there.
It's not Nicky Terpstra.
No.
He's wearing his Netherlands national kit. And here we are. In fact, it's not even anyone from Etixx Quickstep. It's number 152. This is Desenvie from over 93. Ilio Kaiser had two massive dramatic wins in his career. One was the Tour of Turkey back in 2012, stage 7. I called it, and I'm still getting over it. Go and have a look at it on YouTube or wherever you can find it. It really is amazing. But yeah, Ilio Kaiser is here again after last year winning the final stage on the Giro d'Italia. And both scenarios where he won, it was pretty similar to today. He was in a breakaway and then imposed himself late on and held this kind of gap almost inexorably until the line. Can Ilio Kaiser do it again? These are the chasers. Ilio Kaiser's 33 years of age now. I hope he does do it.
Well, I think he certainly has an opportunity here. With if he holds it for long enough and waits for long enough and lets these guys do the work, and as long as they're happy to do the work, then 2-3 kilometers to go, maybe put another attack in and see if he can solo, which is like you said, pretty much like he did back then. Back
in Turkey 2012, stage 7. Let's see if he does. Where is he in this group? He's well, is he hiding in full view? There are the two intermediate riders, and I think they're going to get caught by the pack, as you can see. We're only, what, 5 or 6 seconds maximum behind them as we stand right now. A heat haze, Magnus. We haven't seen one of those for a while.
No, it's been some time since we've seen one of them. But yeah, that particular break is not going anymore.
I think so. I think Desenville is yes, he's heading back home to the Ville. There we are. They're going to take this turn right now, just following the motorcycle, and suddenly it's amazing, isn't it? You can see just how the respite and oh my goodness, they've followed the wrong motorcycle. They're going to have to get called back. Oh, that's a real shame.
Well, there's a crash happened there as well.
Trying to make it on the turn, two riders trying to turn and one getting into the other, and that is an absolute disaster for these guys. Just can't quite see who it is, but I think it's Juregi, if I had to guess. So basically, on-course motorcycle went right, and they followed them instead of the course proper.
That's quite amazing, seeing as they've been around here once already.
I've got a feeling it was the motorcycle itself that misguided them. He got it wrong, and maybe he'd just been given leave to leave the race.
Well, you never know what's happening out there on the road, but it's at the end of the day, it's up to the bike riders as well to know the direction that they're going in. But one of the AG2R riders there is really not in a good place.
Also, Pera, I'm afraid, is there from Roubaix Metropole. Looks a bit like a Roompot jersey, but no, that looks painful, I'm afraid, and that's not a great way to end, especially in such a silly way, sort of non-combative accident.
Yeah, and I think that crash actually has happened by the riders trying to turn around, or the Roompot riders just swung around, and I
think one's tagged the other.
Yeah.
That's my guess. 6.5 kilometres to go. Let's get back to this then, Magnus. Let's hope they stay the same route. And there's a gentleman there in a high-vis jacket saying this way. My goodness. It was basically a motorcycle that I think misguided the riders. He took off, and too many of them followed him.
Although there's an awful lot of arrows and things showing you where to go, so I guess at the end of the day, you've got to be switched on as the rider as well, and actually take the turns and follow the course directions.
There we are, 6.2 Ks to go. There'll be some questions about it at the end of today, and it'll be one of those sort of memorable moments that the riders will hope wasn't in anyone's minds. It's not that big a gap, but it's still a significant one, especially if you've got the sort of ability that Ilio Kaiser's got now. Sorry to bang on about him, but he's a six-day rider. Now, that means that he's used to short track and very quick accelerations when he needs to. It's about getting laps on the field when you're on a short track six-day racing event. And he's got that within him, that mentality, and he believes that he can turn on the gas whenever he needs to. And he's the sort of guy he's very hard to keep hold of if he does decide to go for it.
Yeah, definitely. He has the ability to do a couple of kilometers at an incredible turn of speed if he decides he needs to. And like you said, it's exactly what they do on the track in the 6 days. So let's just see what Ilio's got left in the legs, effectively.
Here we are. This is a reach out by Direct Energy. They need to send somebody up the road. It's Bagdones. I beg your pardon. It's Sylvain Chavanel who's decided to go for this from Direct Energy. And he's got to do this, Magnus, because at the moment he's shrouded amongst a pack, and this is a great chance for him to bridge. The warning about Kaiser, I think, is in the minds of everybody here.
Well, I think with 16 seconds to go, the gap and only 5 kilometers to go, they need to hit the panic button a fraction here. And also, Direct Energy has lost the command of the peloton. Wow. And I think they may have messed up in that particular part there with where the riders took the wrong road, and Direct Energy have lost the whole team.
A whole lot of folks has dissipated. 4.7 kilometers to go. 18 seconds is the gap. That's sustainable. Chavanel knew that. He sort of, for a moment there, just hung the puppy paws off the front bar and said, come on, guys, come and join this. We need to all fight together. I can't do this all on my own. That's exactly what I think everyone was hoping that he would do. It's strung out behind. We've got 4 up the road at the moment. The chase is on. There's an 18-second. They're just out of sight, and that's always a good place to be. If you've got anything left in the breakaway, it could be soon to impose yourself if you're so minded to do. Ilio Kaiser's got no chance of taking anything other than the stage win today, but that'll do nicely, thank you very much, for a man who took the last stage of last year's Giro d'Italia. That race going on, it's time trial day today, of course, but up the road, there we are. And it's holding at 18 seconds, and guess who's just come off the nose? It's Ilio Kaiser, wearing number 12, just starts to drift back, beds in behind his Land Army friend who's bridged over earlier on. Peter Jacobs did a fantastic job to get up there. Duval, I beg your pardon, Guyot it is in the green. So 3.6 kilometres to go, and still they believe that something might happen here. Alexis Gougiard from AG Tour Mondial, one of his teammates fallen in a silly incident earlier on, but they still hold, and it's 17 seconds now with 3.4 to go. They've held this for about a kilometre, Magnus.
Yeah, they certainly have, and there's an awful lot of riders now. They're getting onto the front here, and it looks like is that the Land Army up there actually riding on their own teammate who's in the break?
For Poulier. No, I think it's Fonseca, I beg your pardon. It's Fortuneo working for Armindo Fonseca and Uturovic. 3 Ks remaining, and finally the alarm bells are ringing, and here comes Cofidis. Everybody now is engaging in the chase. The Estonian champion is there for Geert Joar, that is in the blue national jersey of him, but he is for Cofidis, so hence he's on the front. Cofidis and Jeffrey Soup is there with his beard, and just behind will be Bouhanni. Teammates are rolling. In fact, there is Bouhanni in the green jersey today, we remind you, so an unfamiliar look for him, at least in terms of the jersey. 10 seconds with 2.6 to go. It's going to be close.
It's going to be definitely very close, and Cofidis have just spotted the danger with this group up the road there. The gap is shrinking, but what have they done now? Have they gone too early again? There's 2.4 kilometers to go, so they need for the riders, the first couple of riders here, just take very, very long turns, not go overly quick, and panic about bringing these guys back. They got them in their side now, so they can just throttle back a little bit and hold control of their lead-out train.
Just checking the time, 6 seconds it is, and there it is. It just somebody else was checking it clearly at exactly the same time. So what about these guys then? Can they time trial it in? There's only 1900 meters to go. As soon as they see the Flamme Rouge, that's when they'll open it up on the incline. Who's got what it takes? They're cat and mousing at the moment. This is terrific. 1800 meters, but look at the charge going on behind. Wallonie Brussels group, they are also coming to the fore. That's for Planckaert and Oli Pardini. Now Pardini is a great choice today, so watch the men in gold and red. He can climb as well as being quick, and they know that, which is why they're getting into position now. 1500 meters to go.
Well, Gougiard is putting a move in there now, just a last desperate little dig, and I'm waiting for Elio Kaiser to actually open up here now, but they're just about getting caught by the Cofidis riders on the front of the bunch.
Kaiser's still not making any kind of move. Has a look behind. I don't think he's capable of doing it. Here come Cofidis then sailing through. My goodness, there's a lot of shoulder work going on. That's Samuel Dumoulin. Damien Gaudin also is in the frame here.
Last kilometre.
My goodness, there we are. We make the turn and we start to climb almost immediately. There's that little dip down, and then it will kick up with about 700, 800 meters to go. Bouhanni's in the frame. He's looking very, very happy.
Coquard is there as well.
He is in the pink jersey, about P5 at the moment. Coquard needs a man to help him. I think it's Chavanel that's doing a bit of the work here. Here we are then, big drive up the hill, and Van Lerbeker is also here for Top Sport Vlaanderen, and this is great work by these guys. So it's Direct Energy and Coquard versus Bouhanni and Cofidis at the moment, really engaging the incline. It's Laurent Pichon, as described, for Francis de Jeux, who is also there, and storming this one. Oh, the barricades right now are starting to burn, and it's all courtesy of Bonnier, I think it is. No, it's Kenny de Haas. He's gone for this. Kenny's gone long, and just behind him there's Bouhanni. There, of course, is Coquard, who turns it on himself. The light man, the quick man. He's taken 2 so far. He's going to make it 100%. What an exceptional drive that was for the line. And look at the gap behind him. Oh, wow, what a win that was. That was terrific. 3 in a row for Coquard. Who on earth is going to stop this man? All-terrain vehicle, it seems. Wow. Good job.
That was very impressive by Brian Coquard, and he did exactly what we spoke about as well. He sat down, he just followed the wheels, waited for that moment when the road started to level out, and then just put that massive big acceleration in. And Bouhanni, that looked well positioned, didn't actually have any legs left to go with, and it was basically all about one man today.
It certainly was. And that man is our leader and has been from the very first day, Brian Coquard. Good racing here, Magnus. There's been a few knocks, as you can see, late on, just after the line. Bit of a tangle, I'm afraid. But Montcassel beckons tomorrow. On the deck is Coquard. I hope he's all right, and that's just him dismounting.
That's just him being completely spent. That was a very tough finish, and it's just taken everything out of him.
Well, he gave it all, Magnus, but
did.
It was not marginal gains. It was domination. I'm liking him.
It was a dominant sprint. You can just see when Bryan Coquard he gets in onto the wheel of Bouhanni. Bouhanni looks around, sees him, and then all of a sudden Coquard turns it on. Bouhanni tries to go with him, but just hasn't got anything to respond with. And
Planckaert it was from Wallonie, Brussels. Great ride by him. And good to see as well, fully engaging here, Ray Credo, as we saw, but really only one man.
Yeah, and this is borderline another second between the riders as well. So I wonder whether they will give Bryan Coquard the extra second time gap there.
Bryan, journée 203.
Ouais. Never two without three.
Elle était compliquée cette étape aussi.
Well, it was complicated, that's for sure.
Voilà. Que dire à mes coéquipiers?
Not easy at all.
C'est même pas merci parce que là ce qu'ils ont fait aujourd'hui c'est
exceptionnel. A very big thank you.
Ouais, je suis très content, surtout pour les gars qui sont
extraordinarily happy, of course.
Du premier comme au dernier.
And it's not over. It wasn't the last.
Merci.
Not just for me, but for my team as well.
Merci à Jean-René.
Direct Energie.
Pour voilà. Ça,
thanks to the John René, the manager.
Où l'équipe était pas sûre de repartir.
A lot of hard days in the winter to get to this point. And it's a huge pleasure to win today. Good man. There we are. He did it.
L'équipe n'était pas sûre de repartir et Direct Energie et Jean-René nous ont sauvés.
Well, it's talking about his the workload. Jean-René.
S'il y a cette belle histoire et cette belle
gave us a chance to be there. I might not have been there without all of their hard work, and of course without that man as well.
Je sais pas combien il y a d'écart. On verra ça ce soir. Je l'avais dit.
Tomorrow you've got a big gap. Is it important? Is it enough?
Le plus important c'était de gagner aujourd'hui. Demain c'est.
Well, the most important thing was to gain today. We'll see what happens tomorrow. It's a different day entirely.
Un centimètre d'aide par les autres équipes, ce qui est normal. Mais
today we got no help at all from any other
team. C'est dommage parce qu'on a failli.
It's normal, I guess, he says.
Passer à côté d'une arrivée au sprint, mais c'était.
But when we arrived at the sprint,
je savais que ça me convenait.
It was a difficult sprint, but we had what it took. So there it is. It was reasonably good for me. I knew it, and I won. He did. Well, there is a man who has suffered, I think, at the hands of Coquard. He could well be leading the race himself, were it not for the efforts of Direct Energie and for Bryan Coquard. And he's got to start thinking now about how he assembles getting something out of this race. He's not happy, and he doesn't want to talk to anybody. I think he's been called back because he may well have some other duties. We shall see. But Bryan Coquard makes it 3 in a row. Coquard takes it ahead of Planckaert. Rudy Barbier it was. Good work for Roubaix Metropole. Maxime Richeze, Etixx Quickstep, and Pardini making up the top 5. Bouhanni fading to 6th. They didn't give a time gap. I think that's a bit unfair from Coquard back to the others.
Yeah, I mean it's borderline whether it's a second gap in between Coquard and second place, but I guess sometimes the commissaire sees favourably on a gap like this, and other times they don't. But to me, this is it's clear enough daylight to put a second time in there.
It was about 0.7, but yes.
Was that taken with your thumbs on the stopwatch? Was it?
Yes.
Oh, right.
There we are. Well, our congratulations to Bryan Coquard. We're just waiting for the overall standings before we move on to other sporting pastures in a few moments' time. Don't forget, we've got highlights of the Tour of Azerbaijan later on. I know many of you were fascinated by the methane volcanoes yesterday. We were too. Coquard then leads Bouhanni by a margin of 20 going into the big Queen stage tomorrow, the penultimate day.